I talk a lot about how to be efficient with your time, how you absolutely need to follow the mare cycle. But a lot of people probably hear that, especially during profile reviews, and it goes in one ear and out the other. They just don't listen. But today, I want to walk you guys through the fully comprehensive guide to mares and go over everything each mare has to offer. This could be anything from what you should be doing to how this mare affects the rest of the game, to investments, etc, etc. But before we get into it, I do want to ask you guys to please scroll down and subscribe. We are going for 30k, and the YouTube rank and every subscription helps me out immensely. If we hit 30k before the end of September, I will be giving away 3 billion coins, so make sure to subscribe. I also stream at twitch.tv/theogyadi, so make sure to check me out on there, and let's get into it, boys. It's probably good I chose to wait until now to make this video because of the somewhat recent changes to mares. So let's get started with the bare basics of mares. Mare elections are an event that occur every Skyblock year where players get to vote for a mare and a minister with various perks. They begin on late summer 27th in-game time when the election room opens and end on late spring 27th of in-game time of the following year when it closes. It's open for around 4 real-life days, it's closed for around 1 day. There are 5 candidates per election, with one of them being a special candidate every 8 Skyblock years. Each candidate can have up to 3 or 4 perks, while special candidates always have all of their perks. Each candidate also has 1 perk randomly selected as a minister perk. When the election period ends, the candidate with the most votes becomes mayor for the next Skyblock year, with all their perks listed activated for that time. That's about 5 IRL days. The second place candidate becomes a minister, as explained below. For ministers, each candidate during an election has a random perk selected as a minister perk, so it's not the same every single time. When the election ends, the candidate that got second place becomes a minister for that Skyblock year, with only their minister perk active. This is modified by 2 systems. If a special mayor is elected, there will be no minister. If Diaz was elected the previous year with their long-term investment perk active, then the selected minister has all their perks active instead of just their minister perk. In terms of mayor selection, candidates are chosen with the following steps. All candidates except last year's winner and no special mayors are added to the possible mayor list. Each candidate now has a 50% chance to gain an extra perk if they did not have 3 yet, or an 8% chance to gain a 4th perk if they have 1 available and already have 3. If the mayor was not in last election, they will only have 1 perk. The possible mayor list is then shuffled and the first 5 are chosen. If this year requires a special candidate, the 5th possible mayor is removed and replaced with the correct special candidate. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get into the specific mayors themselves. First up, we have Atrox. Mayor Atrox is the perfect time to grind Slayers, with all of his perks being focused around Slayers. His first perk, Slayer Buff XP, this one is pretty straightforward. You simply just earn 25% more Slayer XP. So if you're doing a tier 4 Slayer, instead of 500 Slayer XP, you will gain 625 Slayer XP. This perk is incredibly useful for getting all Slayers to level 9. So if you don't like any certain Slayer, do it during Atrox to do the least amount of it. His second perk is called Pathfinder. This is a 20% multiplication to your magic find. It helps tremendously when trying to get rare drops like a Judgment Core, Overflux, or Warden Heart. This perk doesn't really matter for Blaze or Terra too much, so I would focus on either Sven, E-Man, or Zombie Slayer if Atrox has this perk. His third perk is called Slashed Pricing. Starting Slayer quests are half price. This is extremely simple and should be easy to understand. It just saves you coins. For most Slayers, the maximum tier they can have is a tier 4. A tier 4 boss costs 50k coins to spawn. This means that to get a Slayer to level 9 without any bonuses, it will take 2,000 bosses and 100 million coins. Grinding a Slayer only during slash pricing will save you 50 million coins. Nowadays that isn't a whole lot, but 3 to 4 years ago it was a lot of coins. One thing to note, since Barry is the mayor in the Rift, none of these perks apply to the Rift / Vampire Slayer, which kind of sucks. For each mayor, I will not be telling you exactly what to invest in. That will take a lot of work looking at markets. If you really want to make money on investments, you'll look at the markets yourself. However, I will add some items associated with that mayor that I think will either drop in price or rise in price. Items to drop in price during Atrox would be any common drop from a Slayer, for example Null Spheres, Judgment Cores, Warden Hearts, Dice from Blaze, Overflux, any of the really big drops should go down in price. Items to go up in price would be probably Veteran and Magic Find shards, and pretty much anything that increases Magic Find, such as a Black Cat pet. All in all, Atrox is one of the best mayors in the game because there is so much Slayer content. One thing to note is that for some popular slayers, notably Blaze, E-Man, and Sven, especially in the Howling Cave, there's going to be a lot of competition and lag during Atrox because of the amount of people trying to do slayers. For Sven, I would get a private hub lobby and grind in the castle during Atrox, and I probably wouldn't even touch Blaze during Atrox if the servers were lagging that badly. The next mare is Mare Cole. Mare Cole recently had a shake-up with the new Mares update, and it has revitalized the people's will to mine. This first perk is called Mining Fiesta. This perk used to grant 2 mining fiestas that were 5 1/3 IRL hours long. Now, it's way better in my opinion, because there are 5 mining fiestas that last for 2 1/3 IRL hours. This perk also allows you to be able to obtain refined minerals and glossy gemstones, which are used for various things like upgrading mineral armor and the mineral line of talisman, as well as gemstone equipment and Devon's powder coatings. It also grants more mining wisdom on public islands to help those that aren't mining 60 yet. Having more mining fiestas also makes it easier for more players to make at least 1 fiesta, as opposed to sometimes missing both fiestas during Cole because they're at 4 AM your time. His next perk is called Mining XP Buff. Very simply, it will help you gain more mining XP on public islands. This does stack with the Mining Fiesta buff, granting you an extra 135 mining wisdom on public islands during a fiesta. This is extremely good for Golden Dragon leveling while doing Glaciite comms. Cole's next perk is called Molten Forge. Put simply, it decreases the time it takes to forge items by 25%. Seems more useful for Iron Man players and players that are doing Forgecraft flips than the everyday player. This does stack with Quick Forge perk in the heart of the mountain tree. Cole's last perk is called Prospection. Prospection makes mining minions work 25% faster. I don't know why they didn't revamp this perk. It should make all minions 25% faster, but it's just mining minions. Nobody should ever be using mining minions unless you're early game trying to get redstone collection. They are incredibly slow, and it is much faster to get collections done by manually mining stuff out. Glossy gemstones will eventually drop in price during this mare, as well as refined minerals. Not that those are expensive. Certain gemstones that are sold to Bazaar should also see a dip in price. In terms of stuff that will go up in price, mining gear, to put it simply. The next mare we have is Diana. Diana was already one of the best mares in the game, and the 4th perk they recently gave her made her even better. Diana's first perk is Pet XP Buff. Pets gain 35% more XP. This is multiplicative with held items and any other sources of XP gain, making Diana the best time to level pets such as a golden dragon through combat means such as flares or slayers. Diana's next perk is called Lucky. You simply gain 25 pet luck. Pet luck is a stat which increases your chances of dropping pets in Skyblock. On the surface level, this may seem like a good perk, but it doesn't really matter all that much. It's basically just a bonus 25% magic find, which is still good, but isn't great. Grinding worms for Scatha pets or dragons for Ender Dragon pets is a good use of this perk. Diana's 3rd perk is called Mythological Ritual. This is by far Diana's best perk because it unlocks the mythological event, which allows you to find mythological creatures and tons of unique items. Diana's not mare right now, so I can't exactly show you how to do this event, but it is pretty straightforward. Get yourself an Ancestral Spade, get yourself Sky Handy for Diana waypoints, get yourself a Griffin of a tier where you can actually kill the mobs, and go ham. This event is extremely useful for dropping items like Chimera, which is specific to Inquisitors, which require a legendary Griffin. Other items would be a Minos Relic, Dwarf Turtle Shelmet, Antique Remedies, and Crochet Tiger plushies. This event also allows you to level up your Beastmaster Crest, which caps out at 10,000 mythological mob kills for more bonus pet XP. Getting 10,000 kills will also get you 100 Skyblock XP. I'll probably end up making a more in-depth video on updated metas for Mythological Ritual, but for now, if you have the gear, you should be RCMing Diana because it is the fastest way to grind out 10k kills and spawn a lot of Inquisitors for Chimera. And Diana's last perk is called Sharing is Caring. Her 4th perk was recently added, and it allows you to EXP share up to 3 pets total. This does not take away XP from your main pet or from any of the other EXP share pets. It simply produces more XP. On top of the 10% increase to XP share rate. The pets do not get locked in the menu when Diana leaves, you will be able to take them out. In terms of investments, anything dropped from the Mythological Ritual, most notably Chimera, will drop in price during Diana, Anything associated with Magic Find should rise in price. Summoning Eyes will also most likely go up in price as people do a lot of dragons during Diana. The next mare is Diaz. Diaz recently got buffed from one of the worst mares in the game to one of the most useful because of the addition of Stock of Stonks to her arsenal. Diaz's first perk is long-term investment. The elected minister will appear in the next election with all of their available perks. This is extremely good for mares with good fourth perks, such as Diana, Finnegan, and Marina, and even some 3-perk mares that just have great 3 perks like Paul and Atrox. Do not elect her when a special mare is next because the minister bonus perks won't matter. Special mares should always be elected. Diaz's next perk is called Shopping Spree. It increases daily NPC buy limits by 10 times. This really only matters for Iron Man players that need more of a certain material for minion crafts. Regular players could use this for dandelions for their flower minion, I guess, or early game players could use it for craft flips such as Enchanted Ice. Diaz's next perk is called Stock Exchange. This is a new perk that allows you to obtain Stock of Stonks again. Stock of Stonks have many uses now, including trading for golden bounties, avaricious chalices, golden fragments, and freshly minted coins. You can also use Stock of Stonks and coins to upgrade the price paid on either a Midas sword or a Midas staff. You should always be bidding bare minimum during the Stonks auction, which is 2 mil, because that is the cheapest you will ever get a Stock of Stonks. They're about 3.5 mil in Bazaar right now, so buying one for 2 mil saves a lot of coins. It'll take a while to build up the total amount of Stock of Stonks that you need for everything, but you will do it at roughly 60% of the normal cost. Diaz's last perk is called Volume Trading. What this does is it doubles the quantity from Shen's Auction, Shen's Special, and Rift Shens, as well as 2 additional Shen Special auctions will be held. This is the only mare that has an effect on anything in the Rift. I would use this to try to get somewhat cheaper prices on Shen's items. Due to increased supply, the more Diaz gets elected and the more these items are bought, the lower the price of the items as time goes on. Most of Shen's items are overpriced simply due to low supply. In terms of investments, Stock of Stonks will drop in price slightly as more are introduced into the game. Shen's items should also slowly drop in price as more are introduced into the game, and you might be able to snipe a good deal off of the bonus auction. This includes Rift Prism in Shen's Rift. The next mare is Finnegan. Finnegan used to basically be useless to farm during, except for getting all the gold metal, but now he actually has some uses. Finnegan's first perk is called Goated. Jacob's farming contest brackets now include 10% more players each. It is so incredibly easy to get a gold in every contest now, especially with so many new sources of farming fortune. If you don't have a gold and don't want to try or are a new player, do it during Finnegan. Finnegan's next perk is Pest Eradicator. The duration of Pest Hunter Philip's farming fortune bonus is now 60 minutes instead of 30 minutes, so it's doubled. Pests are also now 4 times more likely to spawn in sprayed plots. This is incredibly good for pest farming. I've heard rumors of a possible like 50 mil an hour to NPC from pest farming and maybe flies, but I don't have any evidence to prove this or anything to show you guys to prove it. It's also extremely useful for maxing Pest Bestiary and being able to have more bonus farming fortune to grind your max milestone. Finnegan's next perk is called Pelt Apocalypse. Obtain 1.5 times more pelts, hunt a new trapper mob, and purchase items from a new trapper shop. This is a good perk for only one time because it will make it so you can spend less time grinding tier 12 farming minions. The only new item that's worth anything from the trapper shop is going to be the Pest Vest, which is very useful for specifically pest farming. There are some other items as well that increase bonus pest chance, like the Brown Belt and Stinky Cheese Potion from that shop. Finnegan's last perk is called Blooming Business. This is a newly added 4th perk for Finnegan, and it is by far his best perk. All garden visitors reward fine flour and 10% more copper for accepting offers. Invites 5 unique visitors, which means more fortune on Lotus equipment, to your garden and makes higher rarity visitors 20% more likely to show up. This perk is awesome. It introduced the Ravenous Rhino into the game with a guaranteed Dedi 4 book. And this is incredibly good for Iron Men especially, and apparently me, because I've never dropped a Dedi 4 from Librarian, and I've accepted Librarian like 170 times or something. This also killed the price of Dedi 4, which allows newer players to be able to afford it. 10% more copper plus higher rarity of visitors just gives out so much more copper. Fine Flower is a nice little bit of extra money as well. In terms of investments, Dedi 4 should drop in price due to Ravenous Rhino giving out guaranteed Dedi 4s. Farming gear will most likely see a slight increase in price, but farming as a market is pretty stable as it is. The next mare is Foxy. Foxy recently got changed all around and now offers something useful in terms of Skyblock XP, but it is incredibly boring. Foxy's first perk is called a Time for Giving. Party chests and party gifts can be obtained while this event is active. The loot pool is just not really that good, I don't think, other than the equipment for obtaining more event tokens. Foxy's second perk is called Chivalrous Carnival, which is probably Foxy's best perk. Schedules a carnival in the hub that is active throughout the entire year. Claim your daily tickets every day from the Ticketmaster to play the games. Tickets can also be gotten from events like Spooky Festival and participating in Jacob's Farming Contest. There are 3 different games and they're all very boring. The game that rewards the most tokens, if your ping isn't awful, is the Zombie Shootout. The perks of the shops are nice, and it also offers a solid amount of Skyblock XP. Foxy's third perk is called Extra Event. It just schedules an extra event during the year. That's it. And Foxy's fourth perk is called Sweet Benevolence, in which you earn 30% more candy, gifts, and chocolate from duplicate rabbits during their respective events. Again, nothing especially great here. Good for early game and Iron Man players in terms of more candy and gifts, and if you don't have max hoppities or are trying to work on spending 800 billion chocolate in the hoppity shot, then the bonus chocolate is nice as well. In terms of investment, candies plus gifts should drop slightly with Sweet Benevolence, otherwise there's nothing to invest in really for Foxy. It's still not a great mare overall, even with the buff. The next mare is Marina. Marina has always been a good mare, but her recent buffs have made her even stronger. Her new and first perk is called Double Trouble. For every 1 sea creature chance, gain 0.1 double hook chance. This may not seem like a lot or even very good, but keep in mind, double hook chance for lava fishing is incredibly hard to come by, especially since they patched Giant Sword rod swapping, with 10/10 rods only offering 5 double hook chance total. With 100 sea creature chance, you will have 10% double hook chance on top of your rod, tripling your chances to double hook. I believe this also takes into account sea creature chance over 100%. Marina's next perk is called Fishing XP Buff. You gain 50 fishing wisdom on public islands. It's very good for leveling fishing as well as leveling fishing pets for more money. Marina's next perk is called Fishing Festival. She starts a special fishing event during the first 3 days of each month. This event allows you to spawn sharks as well. This event is one of the best ways to make money for Marina, especially if you happen to have a giant's rod. The pets and shark teeth combined bring in a lot of coins. Marina's last perk is called Luck of the Sea 2.0. Gain 15 sea creature chance. That's it. It's very good for early game fishers who don't have a lot of sea creature chance, and it's also very good for everyone because it contributes to more double hook chance. In terms of investments, shark teeth should drop in price as well as Jabba's frags and possibly radioactive vials. Fishing gear should go up in price, put very simply. Our next mare is going to be Paul. Paul did not see any changes in the mare update because he is already very strong. Paul's first perk is called Easy Peasy. Gain 10 bonus score on dungeon runs. This makes S+ in most runs impossible to fail, leading to better drops and more cat XP. It doesn't matter for most endgame M7 parties, but for everyone else, it is a nice buff. Paul's second perk is called Marauder. Dungeon reward chests are 20% cheaper. This saves a ton of money for people that play M7 all day every day, especially when purchasing handles. For the rest of the community, again, it's just a nice little buff. Probably really nice for Iron Man players as well, which means they have to mine less. Paul's third perk is called Benediction, in which blessings are 25% stronger. This is by far Paul's best perk. This perk makes you deal more damage and have more survivability depending on the blessings you get for that run. Use this perk to play higher levels of the Catacombs / Master Mode that you previously couldn't survive in, or use it to play / learn Mage in M7 where you are extremely squishy. In terms of investments, handles, scrolls, and Master Stars should all see a relatively marginal drop in price. Stars are iffy depending on the floor because stars are also used to build gear. Dungeon gear should increase in price. Now moving on to special mares. First up we have Jerry. Jerry is arguably the best mare in the game. Jerry's first perk is called Perkpocalypse. It activates all perks of another mare every 18 Skyblock days, otherwise known as 6 IRL hours. You basically get every 3 to 4 perk mare every 6 hours on a cycle. It's extremely strong and warrants playing for as much of Jerry as you possibly can. The cycle of mares is completely random. The fandom wiki actually updates the Jerry cycle every time Jerry's elected, so check out this page if you want to know what mares are when after the first time they're selected. Jerry's second perk is called Statspocalypse, and it increases most stats by 10%. This is extremely good for grinding anything Magic Find wise, for doing anything you currently struggle with damage on, especially Master Mode dungeons. You should be playing floors that you used to struggle with with ease. Jerry's third perk is called Jerrypocalypse, in which you reveal hidden Jerrys from logging, farming, mining, and killing mobs. These Jerrys have a 30-second cooldown on spawning and have their own bestiary. Make sure to complete the bestiary. Bestiaries can be loot shared. The boxes aren't worth opening, it's probably just better to sell them. Jerry boxes are used by some rich players to get foraging 50 without having to forage, but this costs roughly 4 billion coins and is not recommended. The next mare is Derpy. Derpy really didn't change with the mare update other than the fact that the AH is no longer closed during Derpy. Derpy, in my opinion, is only second to Jerry in terms of best mare. Derpy's first perk is called Turbo Minions. Minions have double the output. This is a very good time to put Hyper Catalyst and Minions, especially if you aren't done with collections yet. Otherwise, this perk doesn't have too much of an effect, it's just a nice buff. Derpy's next perk is called Double Mobs HP, and you guessed it, it doubles all monsters' HP. This makes Slayers and dungeons a decent amount more difficult, which is why early game players should avoid combat during this mare. For endgame players, it doesn't matter as much, which means you can still grind M7. Derpy's third perk is called More Skills. You gain 50% more skill experience. This is one of the strongest perks in the game across all mares. This is multiplicative with your wisdom and should be used to level farming. Finnegan doesn't have a wisdom perk. Alchemy, there's no alchemy mare. Enchanting, do more than your dailies if you aren't max enchanting. Foraging, there's no foraging mare. And dungeons. The 50% more skill experience applies to both CAT XP and class XP. So most M7 players that are working on class average will grind this class average hard during Derpy. Double mob health really only affects clear for mage, healer, and tank, but the slightly lower times are well worth the bonus XP. And for our last special mare and last mare in general, we have Scorpius. Scorpius is the worst of the 3 special mares, to put it simply, but he offers many investing opportunities to make a lot of money. Sorry, Iron Man players. If you would like to see a video going more in depth on the investing aspect, I will have it linked in the description. Scorpius's first perk is called Bribe. If Scorpius wins and you voted for him, Mare Scorpius will give you coins. The amount of coins you get is determined by your total playtime on that profile. If you have less than 50 hours, you'll get 50k. If you have less than 150 hours, you'll get 250k. If you have less than 300 hours, you'll get 500k. If you have more than 300 hours, you'll get 1,000,000 coins. This perk is effectively useless and just contributes to inflation. 1,000,000 coins does basically nothing in this economy. Scorpius's next perk is called Darker Auctions. This is the big boy perk from Scorpius. Lots of unique items are obtainable during Darker Auctions, including Midas Staff, Plasma Nucleus, Hegemony Artifact, Growth 7, Giant Killer 7s, etc., etc. For Iron Man players, this is the only time where these items will be obtainable for you. For non-Iron Man players, these items will always be worth investing in during Scorpius because they will always go up in price outside of Scorpius. So if you guys did enjoy the video or found it useful, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment them down below. I will do my best to get to every single comment, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.